little bit higher, especially when that warning was issued up here south of Burnsville, right where that white line is. Their expectation for peak hail size could have been up in excess of 1.5 inches, probably more around 1 inch in size. The peak on that thunderstorm now we show closer to maybe 1 inch in size. So that does show, again, that downward trend in intensity there. The storm near Frankstown, though, right where I kind of have that white line coming in there, that one, possibly 1 inch hail out of that as well. The rest of these other thunderstorms, again, maybe some hail. I think expected to be a little bit below severe limits on its overall intensity. I'm going to check our discussion again back and forth with the National Weather Service. One other thing I have not addressed, and we'll go wide here for a moment to address that, is that the counties in green that we have here on Mama Justice Doppler, these are all under severe thunderstorm watch. Yalobusha, Calhoun, parts of Chickasaw, Monroe, really everybody in the green, obviously, under a severe thunderstorm watch until 7 p.m. tonight. Here's what we expect. We do not expect really tornadoes out of this setup here. This is going to be more hail and wind if we were to see something. Look at that severe weather risk, as you'll note here. All the counties in yellow under that severe weather risk for the potential for wind. A level 3 out of 5 severe weather risk for some wind as basically these storms go through a collapsing phase. And if storms can organize into more of a complex and try to move in, that's where that wind threat would be a more significant. Hail, again, sporadically a possibility there. And as you notice, and I'll go and move I'll take all the advisories and everything off so it's clear there and then go wider. There is no tornado threat out of what we are set to experience today. This is going to be wind. This is going to be hail. Those are the two main threats if we were to see something. As far as severe weather goes for tomorrow, no significant risk. Same thing again for Wednesday. Our chances, again, there for today and for the potential that storms could try to produce strong wind gusts as well as hailstones. Current time is now we're at 11:43 a.m. I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Lawpon. Severe thunderstorm warning issued for parts of originally Alcorn, Prentiss, Tishomingo, Franklin County, Colbert County, and now just Tishomingo County. But that storm in Tishomingo County would expect us on a downward slide on intensity. One way to look at that, again, is using our 3D version. Before we do that, I think we also might be able to do it just by some we call echo tops. Allows us to see kind of the top of the thunderstorm, and that shows us basically how it is kind of progressing there. And so we briefly had some spots with that darker red showing up. Is she about to leave? Okay. Okay. Let's send her in before she goes. But where we see the darker red, the top of the thunderstorm around 55,000 feet. Now, if you bring it to the current time, now that top of that thunderstorm there at maybe 45,000 feet. So it's a collapse of 10,000 feet or 2 miles shorter. Why that matters is as it goes through the collapsing phase, it can kick out some of those stronger wind gusts. It's probably dropped whatever big hail it's going to drop, but it's probably also dropping as it goes through that collapsing phase, some wind. Again, no rotation there that we're tracking, just some strong gusty winds from time to time with that part as well. Again, moving from Malone to Allsboro to Bishop there, again, toward the south and east. So again, heavy rainfall, yes. Damaging winds, possibly. Large hail, no longer an impact there. Again, Carter Branch, we're tracking that for you at 11:47. Allsboro, 11:49, 11:50 Bishop, close to Burnstown, about 11:54. Minot there at 12:01, and close to Pleasant Grove about 12:59. This is Doppler radar indicated gusty winds, but no reports officially of severe weather out of this yet. And I'll check our discussion with the North Mississippi storm chasers here in a moment to see what they're getting out of it as well. Speaking of discussions, let's check again our chat with all of you guys here behind the scenes. It'll take me a moment to pop that up. There's a way I typically do it. We're going to work a little backward on that here for the moment. So again, for some of y'all behind the scenes, appreciate you guys for coming alongside us here on Mississippi Live. And again, that's going to behave itself. That is not. Oh, it did actually. Okay, there we go. So as you can see, appreciate everybody for watching Marietta, Water Valley, all across the east. The strongest storms are a little south of you. I mentioned in Pisgah there, a heavy rainfall so far. That's about all a lot of folks have seen. And most of this, again, we're going to go back and forth on whether or not this fully gets up to produce severe weather. From time to time, it could. Remains to be seen. If you have not taken the chance, download our apps, Roku, Apple TV, Fire TV, all different ways, again, in which you can interact with us here on Mississippi Live and support us here in the Room to Room Weather Center. Current time is now 11:47. I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Lawpon. Again, you're watching Mississippi Live. We're a 24/7 streaming service based out of the Tupelo area. The other thunderstorms we have back here closer to Frankstown, probably a little stronger than the one that's prompted our severe thunderstorm warning. Using that same threshold we said a minute ago there, the height of the thunderstorm, that is extending up to about 50,000 feet. So that one may be high enough that if it goes through a collapsing phase, we have to kind of worry about that. We'll look 3D on that. We'll kind of cut it down to some of the more intense returns. See, I don't necessarily think we necessarily even have severe hail out of that as well at this point. So most of our other thunderstorms, again, more below severe limits than that one is as well. So good signs there. So maybe we can get a little rest before things pick back up. I will say this, and I want to be clear about this here. We expect that today, if we see severe weather, it's going to be in short bursts. It's going to be, hey, that thunderstorm really built up and it comes to a big collapse, and that's where we kick out some strong wind gusts. Coming up at noontime, we'll go ahead and kind of give you a one-over on what the overall weather kind of forecast is here and what we're looking at for the severe weather risk for today. So that's something, again, we'll talk more about here coming up at noontime on Mississippi Live as well, as that warning will probably expire by then. Let's look in the wider shot here, kind of see the overall look at way things are. There's a 1 hour loop here. And you can see, so what's happened is we kind of hit a temperature we call the convective temperature. It's the temperature where things just start bubbling up. And so when that happens, storms start bubbling. And if the atmosphere is right, when they collapse, they kick out strong winds. And so that's going to kind of be the story today, where very sporadic reports of strong winds are a possibility with this as well. I see someone mentioning behind the scenes here in our chat, power out in northern Marshall County. I haven't even had a drop of rain yet there. Hopefully there's not a lot of power outages like that come in. Checking those power outages at this point here by percentage. The green counties, even though green codes into something at the top, those are, again, our severe thunderstorm watch that we have in place there. Checking some of the amounts, again, not significant percentages of folks out of power at this point here, but this power outage map does tend to lag a little bit. So certainly probable that we'll get better information on that over time. But again, some sporadic power outages out there. That's typically to be expected here. I see someone asking about Boonville, talking about how loud it is there. Let's come into Boonville and we'll check and see if that camera with the North Mississippi Storm Chasers is back on. We had a disruption there to the camera in Boonville. We'll see if it is back. It does not look like it is. So we'll check our camera at Alcorn looking south and talk more about that there. So in Boonville, no tornadoes with this, and that would go really for any place this time. We are not thinking tornadoes out of our setup today. This is going to be gusty winds from time to time. It's going to be loud, but we're not talking about tornadoes out of these. Again, that's looking into Boonville there from our camera. As you can see, it just kind of has that dark gray sort of look. I'm going to pan it over a little bit more. We're just kind of looking into obviously a really dreary sort of look as the storms producing some gusty winds and obviously the lightning. They're going to be loud and you'll probably have some power disruptions from them. But here around Boonville, if I go look for storm rotation on this for a moment, for example, you'll notice there's none there that's of any kind of concern. And the only place I even have any kind of red showing up is out sort of in advance of where the storms are. As well. So again, this is not a scenario where we expect to have tornadoes today. These are going to be pretty disorganized storms. So everywhere in green, and that does include about 2/3 the people that can watch us here on Mississippi Live, including the traditional viewing area, plus our folks down that catch us on Max South, down around Forest and Carthage and locations down south. This severe thunderstorm watch in effect until 5 p.m. The expectation is these sporadic thunderstorms off and on, some gusty winds, some large hail, no tornadoes. So just want to be crystal clear, no tornado threat of concern there. So let's start again tracking some of these storms. And if we look at lightning strikes, I'm going to tweak our lightning projection here for just a moment. I do hear someone saying it is hailing at the Chevron in Boonville. Hey, Haley, if you'd let us know how large that hail is, certainly that would help. Some small hail reported there in Cherokee from the storm out of Iuka from one of our followers as well. Appreciate those reports. If you could pass those along, certainly those are the kind that we try to pass along to the National Weather Service to make sure they are aware. And if you send in your reports using the Mississippi Live Weather app, National Weather Service Memphis gets those directly. Give me a moment here to type in a password so I can do something here behind the scenes. So give me just a moment to be able to pull that up here. So let's look at that hail potential. You going?
Yeah.
Little girls, love you too. Have fun at camp.
Yes, I love you.
I'll see you later. Be safe.
Later.
Be good. Little girl's going to camp this week, and that's, you know, what they do, right? So excited for her to be able to do that. Check behind the scenes here for just a moment. And I'm getting logged in so that I can see your pictures behind the scenes here. It always logs us out every once in a while. Let's go. There we go. And Messenger. I'm just going to check and see what kind of pictures you have sent in, because if you send your pictures in using the Mississippi Live Weather app, it comes across our service here almost immediately. So when you get those, send them in. We appreciate everyone who does that. And again, supports us here on Mississippi Live. It does look like I'm going to have to log that back out, log it back in again. That's okay. That happens sometimes. We check a different platform for a moment. While we're talking, might as well pop up that chat here for just a second. And appreciate, again, Wayne's Pest Control, Mama Justice, the folks at Room to Room, all of our sponsors here on Mississippi Live for being willing to come out and support with us. And as I say over and over again, you know, support those folks that support us here on Mississippi Live. It's the only way in which we can continue to do this. Now, looking behind the scenes at some of your pictures, not a lot of good ones sent in yet, but use that Mississippi Live Weather app and ship those on in. We appreciate that. Appreciate everyone for wishing Penny having fun there at camp. Certainly we're excited for her to go, and appreciate all of the reports that you guys are sharing with us. When does it start to rain in Tupelo? Those storms back toward Alpine will start heading southward and heading back in here pretty soon, affecting you. Let's start with our severe thunderstorm warning here for a moment. Up here for Tishomingo County, for folks up there in Tishomingo County, these storms are probably below severe limits. That warning continues into 12:15. Again, coming up at 12 o'clock, I think we'll kind of do a reset here and kind of reestablish everything and kind of set the stage on where we expect and what we expect from here going through the remainder of the afternoon. But I would say out here, maybe some hail out of this. When we look at our hail swath from True Shield Roofing, we don't show a whole lot there. Still does show a little bit up there closer to Midway, but you know, this is spitting out a hail there. It says about 11:45, maybe some. More of that starting to come from this storm up here, kind of north of Boonville and south of Boonville. Those thunderstorms as opposed to ones farther east. And again, looking at the hail, still some hail. Where you see purple here, that's where it's possible that we could be talking about hail. And then the darker colors of purple tell us where it's most likely that we have had some of that there. So out here, kind of east of Tishomingo, where that's most likely. But looking at the top of the thunderstorm, again, going through enough of a collapsing phase that it's kicking out some of its stronger wind gusts right now. The storms all around Boonville, a little stronger, where you see the reds there. That's where the tops are up around 50,000 feet or so. And so when they're that high there, that's when it, you know, obviously kicks out some strong winds when it goes through a bit of a collapsing phase there. Back over the precipitation modes, let's go and track just kind of that grouping of thunderstorms here toward the south and east. And speed on these has been around 20-ish miles per hour. So we'll go about like that. And I'm going to slice in here. So our severe thunderstorm, I'll pop that off there. We'll pop those other locations back on. And we'll kind of change the size here for a moment to get a few bigger locations in. And we're going to take it out, let's say 30 miles there, and change our angle just enough to possibly clip Tupelo in that for folks there. So we show Tupelo about 12:49, the middle part of town, obviously north and northwest part of town, a bit earlier than that. If I aim in a little bit farther east, we show Tremont. I want to get Belmont, some other locations in this top one. This next one has a better chance to kind of possibly get to you. We show Red Bay there by about 1 o'clock. So Belmont, we have full golden there about 12:47. So pretty close to that time there for you. Saltillo about 12:01. Let's go ahead and take about a brief break here for just a moment and be back here in just a second. We'll reset things, kind of give you an overall look at way models look and the chances for severe weather this afternoon as Mississippi Live Weather continues here from the Room to Room Weather Center in 60 seconds.
As a bankruptcy firm, Mitchell, Cunningham, and Bowling realizes many people are worried about their finances. We're here to guide you through the next steps to restart your life. With easy new clients about becoming debt-free. Also, it's available at the low cost of $340 up front for a Chapter 13. You can be on your way to being debt-free. Contact Mitchell, Cunningham, and Bowling today or visit our website at mcdebtfree.com. We are here to help you.
Well, thank you so much again for sticking with us here on Mississippi Live. I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Lawpon. Let's kind of talk about where things go from here through the day. We're looking at the first 12 here, and somewhere over the next few hours, again, we expect the coverage of rainfall to continue to increase. We're pretty limited now. A greater quantity of storms likely over the next few hours here, 20 to 30%, maybe up all the way to 50% coverage of storms trying to move through the area as we progress into this afternoon. We do continue to have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for some sections up here in Tishomingo County. It's one of a number of thunderstorms that have developed over the last couple of hours here. You'll notice we have this frontal boundary up to the north of us, right? This will continue to activate with storms. It's the reason why this green box is in place. The green box represents a severe thunderstorm watch in effect. For most locations until 7 p.m. Behind the scenes here, real quick, I need to go ahead and do another push alert to let folks know we're going to give people a noontime update. So give me just a second here. Live at noon. Up on storm chances through the day. Okay. Just a moment here so I can kind of push that out for folks, and hopefully behind the scenes I have people that are sharing some of the stuff we need to do. So we'll send that out so that folks know we're kind of doing an overview update on where things are. Appreciate everyone for again watching us here in the Room to Room Weather Center. But that green box is our severe thunderstorm watch. Quick look here at modeling shows that again over the next few hours our futurecast has really this cluster of thunderstorms being the main bogey until our kind of upper level system slides through. And then you'll notice here we have more thunderstorms that try to kind of roll in as we head later on into this evening. So there's kind of a couple of batches here. That's part of the reason why heavy rainfall and gusty winds will be the main order of business here for storms that we see today that do continue with those chances, I think, into this late evening and the overnight hours. I think by late overnight, most of the severe weather should be south of us, but we have kind of the batch that's out there now and another batch that's likely coming up after that there. Coming back over to Mama Justice Doppler radar. And again, you'll follow the lightning. That's always one way that we can kind of tell how rough things are, is if you follow the lightning strikes. And so I'm going to change this back over to graphics, right? And you can see here kind of these clusters of lightning strikes. What you will notice is in the storm itself, this Tishomingo storm that stretches up to Cherokee, we don't have a ton of lightning strikes right now, but we do have a greater number out here from Faulkner back out toward Rienzi, some of these storms. So at this point, while this storm still remains the storm that has our severe thunderstorm warning on it, I would say that it is probably not our strongest storm. I would say our strongest storm are the storms here from Guntown back toward around Marietta, the Altitude 2 community in Frankstown there. Those are the ones we're kind of most concerned with at this point in time. A couple ways in which we can kind of look at these storms. It'll be a little distance away, but we'll check out there from our camera in Iuka, looking back into that there. Again, heavy rainfall. The main thing that we saw in Iuka did not have really reports of anything more than that there as well. I see Mary behind the scenes asking. Again, appreciate y'all for being on Facebook and YouTube for all of your questions there that you do have with us on there. You know, the question is, what about rainfall going through the afternoon? We're going to continue to have showers and thunderstorms producing rainfall through the afternoon. Severe thunderstorm warning, though, likely to expire at 12:15, if not before that, for folks up there in Tishomingo County, the only warning that we have at this point in time. So let's get the track on our strongest thunderstorms. We did this a minute ago, but I think it bears repeating here because this is really the cluster that is the strongest. So to give you some times there, looking ahead at about 20 miles per hour. And I'll double check that speed and the motion here in just a moment. So we'll make that a 1 hour loop. Get a look at this, make sure that's a good angle. That's a pretty good angle on that. And the fact, by the way, that I have these storms developing back behind it, that's where the flooding rainfall comes in. Somewhere in this zone from Ripley to Dumas, back out here towards south of Boonville, we're probably going to have somebody pick up 3 inches of rainfall if this trend continues here. So some flash flooding potential on top of everything else with that. So you can see sometimes there as that makes its way. Branyan about 12:08, current time is 12:02, so it's over Corona now. Marietta at 12:04 for you, Guntown 12:07. Looking at New Site 12:10. The Birmingham Ridge area about 12:19. Closer to Frog Island about 12:26, which is close enough to the Law Pond household over there that if we have everything picked up, good. If not, then do we need to pick up stuff? Just kind of throwing that out there. Yeah, outside. So just a double check on that there if we could. As my lightning has been detected in my area alert, just going off on my phone as well. So yes, I do get those. I do get those alerts as well. I'm going to shrink down the number of cities on our list there. So again, Marietta now, Guntown 12:07. We're looking at Mantachie about 12:40 for you. Golden 12:45. Red Bay about 12:56. Lightning, heavy rainfall, some gusty winds up around 50 to possibly up to 60 miles per hour possible out of this storm as it continues to move northeastward. Let's look at a couple other cameras here for a moment as I'm checking behind the scenes at if we have any good viewpoints there. Just give me just a second to do that. We can check our, again, ahead of this in the Tupelo area from our Tupelo camera. And then we'll kind of talk more about some of the other ingredients and everything going into this. And so there's our Tupelo camera. Again, kind of waiting. We're 90, feels like 100. Yuck. Man, y'all ready for that time of year? Apparently we're there in Tupelo. Appreciate Mitchell Cunningham and Bowling for being our partners on this Tupelo camera. But that dew point is at 75. That's really high. That is soupy air. This happens about 2 or 3 times a year where we get just really, really, really sticky air in place. And then we get some storms to go, and then they just gobble it up, and they kick out some strong wind gusts. That's the threat that I think we run into with our chances for storms today. So let's talk about that overall threat here. So you can see in the near term where those storms are. The threats today, severe weather threat is a level, as you can see, this is a level 2 out of 5. The number on this comes back to the number of reports of severe weather, right? So in a 5 out of 5, you'd expect to have tons of reports of severe weather. In a 2 out of 5, you expect to have some reports of severe weather, and you can still have strong wind gusts outside of, or hailstones outside of these risk areas, but the chances, the odds become lesser and lesser. There is, I've got to clear off our watch just to make sure that it's crystal clear on there. Watches and warnings for a moment. There is no tornado risk today out of these storms. They are disorganized. So while they can kick out some strong wind gusts, might have some 65 mile per hour wind gusts out of these storms as they collapse, we are not going to see tornadoes out of this setup today because these storms remain very disorganized. Hail is a possibility on our True Shield hail threat there, level 1 out of 5 severe weather risk, a few hailstones possible from time to time. Severe hail is hail that's 1 inch in size. And by the way, if you have a coin, put that next to any hail that you send those pictures in. And that's one way, again, you could win $100 from True Shield Roofing there. They give a $100 gift card there for folks who send in the biggest hailstone if it's in excess of 1 inch in size. So kind of a cool way. They make a bad day a little bit less bad. Obviously, we don't want 1 inch hail. That's where we're starting to cause issues with roofs. That's where we're starting to cause issues with dents in cars and things like that. But the wind is the most likely impact that we will end up seeing here today. As you'll note that a wind risk level 3 out of 5 and does involve most locations that are in that watch that we were talking about just a moment ago, that severe thunderstorm watch. That, again, that's the counties in green here. Watch means that it's possible that something could happen. So a moment here to kind of pop this on. I think this does a good job of kind of explaining this here. So we start talking about a watch, and that's what most folks are under right now. Typically, that's a duration of several hours, and in some cases, hours of notice before something happens. It can be for large areas. And that's where we just want to make sure we have a plan. In the case of today, we're not talking about storm shelters in all likelihood out of these. Some damaging winds, obviously, we're for a vulnerable structure. We've got an extreme wind event going on, yes, but more likely than not, these are knocking down trees from time to time. Again, ice storm makes us more vulnerable than maybe we would be in a typical situation in this. But the watch we have in place, that typically is in advance for hours in advance before storms hit. Warnings, 20 minutes to an hour. And typically we're talking about, we need to be taking cover now, whether it's moving the car under something protected, not a tree, or moving ourselves inside as well. That's where we come in there when we start talking about, warnings, is when we need to be kind of in those safer locations there as well. Our severe thunderstorm warning does continue in the yellow box here for Tishomingo County. And I do think that they're probably going to have to put out a severe thunderstorm warning up here in Prentiss County at some point if this continues. Just as I mentioned a minute ago, follow the lightning. If I peel everything off of here for a moment, actually we'll leave it on, but you can see here just looking at where can you not even see the red through it, where this lightning is here in Marietta. So I think that this is strong enough that they're probably going to have to consider issuing a severe thunderstorm warning on this. If we check our True Shield hail threat there, I can't even see that through the lightning. I'm going to pull the lightning off here for a moment. And there's a warning. So new severe thunderstorm warning coming out that does include parts of Prentiss, Lee, and Itawamba counties. That in effect until 1 p.m. So my folks behind the scenes here will go ahead and do a screen snap, and we will send something out related to that there. Again, severe thunderstorm warning, large hail potential on this, and strong gusty winds that has prompted that. Let's talk about two things here. First off, you can see where it's going. We've tracked that a couple of times here. Who is not included? Tupelo's not included. Saltillo's not included. Guntown's on the edge of that there, so clearly we'd be protecting ourselves there. But Verona, Shannon, Nettleton, not included in this. All those folks in Lee County there. Belmont has found itself between these two warnings, but we're right there, Marietta and Baldwin, Pratt's community, kind of right there in the heart of where this is right now, where this has been. You can see it's hard to even see through all the lightning strikes we have there. So I'm going to change our lightning back. There's two ways I show lightning. Sometimes it's those zigzags there. The other way is with these lines, because I can still see the quantity of lightning strikes, but you and everybody can still see the radar through it a little bit better like that. So Marietta there, moving toward Kirkville, where this is strongest at this time. And there is some hail depicted on it. I'm going to use our instantaneous hail threat here, using our True Shield roofing hail threat. Not super high at this moment, but you can see kind of the path that's developing there close to Marietta. So we'll look 3D on this. And we'll look aloft and check and see. Yeah, I can see it right there. I don't know if you can tell. Right there, I can see sort of the top of it cutting through. So that tells me we've got some pretty good sized hail on that. So let's slice into it. Yeah, see, we're all the way up to the kind of top scan that. So my hail is, though, down here closer to the surface. So that would be, what, 10,000 feet there, 20,000 feet there, 30,000 feet. So some of that hail is going up about 20, 25,000 feet or so. When we start seeing that hail about that high, it does have a tendency to possibly still exist, still make it down to the ground. When you are as warm as we are right now, that does melt some of the hail before it comes in contact. But I do see someone asking about Piney Grove Campground. I'm sorry I chuckled on that there, because you're pretty much in it. It's a little bit south. I guess it's a little south of you. So the Piney Grove Campground, right about there at Bay Springs Lake. So this is a little bit south of you. Certainly don't want to find yourself at a campground in this situation. We're going to continue to have more of these. This is not the only batch we're going to have today. We will have thunderstorm that could be. So let's track that hail again, 20-ish miles per hour. So in the short term here, Kirkville at about 12:17 for you, Ozark at 12:25. If we extend that, say 25 miles, and that were to continue out there, and let's expand this out just a little bit more to include a few other folks there. That's a more reasonable kind of track on that. So we show about 12:17 again, Kirkville, Ozark about 12:25. Fairview community, we're looking at that for you at about 12:51. So within about 40 minutes or so for you there in the Fulton area. Tilden at Team Academy 124, and New Salem about 124 as well. Doppler radar indicates some large hail with that. I will say what's interesting there for our folks, I mentioned Piney Grove a moment ago there, you're kind of in this storm that's between the two. So I'm going to get a shot of that here for you quickly as well. It's not as intense as the other thunderstorm there, but obviously I know anytime we have folks there at the lake, or if they're at the beach there that we do have at Bay Springs, we need to hopefully get into our cars. And that might, okay. So like when we start talking about tornado warnings, we talk about, not wanting to be in a vehicle. Cars, trucks, and manufactured homes are the most dangerous in tornadoes. In the case of this, where we don't really have a lot of good options out here, and this is not a severe thunderstorm, for folks there maybe that have gone to the beach there at Bay Springs Lake or at some of the campgrounds, we're better off in our cars than we are out in it. So we want to find the least bad place. We want to kind of move up the sheltering continuum to someplace a little bit stronger. And so certainly in your vehicle and able to move to where you're not beneath a giant tree would be the recommendation in this case there for you. Looking behind the scenes here at our discussion with everybody. No new reports coming in on that. Appreciate everybody for watching us. Someone asked about Houston. We'll talk about that in a moment, a little bit more about what we are seeing there for you in just a second. So anyway, my track there was for a different storm than this. The storm that we're zoomed in on is not severe at this point. The one here in yellow does involve northeastern Lee, much of Itawamba, and parts of Prentiss County in effect until 1 p.m. The strongest portion where that white line is going right in the middle there on Mama Justice Doppler radar and heading down toward the Fulton area, Clay Community, and Tremont Academy, all kind of in the path of where this is going there. Again, I do appreciate everybody for your comments and your reports. Let us know again in the comment section here what you are seeing. Monroe County will look down for you in a minute. This eventually is heading your way, but nothing significant in Monroe County at this point in time. Thaxton, we're in good shape right now for you. But the concern is not just the storms we have here, but the fact they're kind of lined up behind this. We're going to have a few different waves of thunderstorms here that will try to kind of move through. And so some flooding rainfall potential there as well on that. So kind of multiple waves moving in from the north and west as this moves in. So join the conversation on Facebook, on YouTube. The easiest way to watch us is using that Mississippi Live weather app. I'm going to grab my phone, which I left over here to begin with earlier on. But make sure you have that app. You get those alerts. And that's the fastest way to find us. If you're always searching for where we're at on social media, the easiest way to find us is using the Mississippi Live weather app. Again, free and available for all of those different devices there. As we come back here in the Room to Room Weather Center, it's currently 12:15. I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Lopon. We're tracking some severe thunderstorms, potential to produce some hail that could be up in excess of an inch in size. We'll come into two-dimensional mode here on our True Shield hail threat up here close to Marietta and Kirkville, moving there about to cross the Natchez Trace Parkway, crossing the Natchez Trace Parkway right now where the strongest portion of this storm is. And so again, tracking that ahead, you can see Kirkville, it's over top of you pretty much now. Going back here in the precipitation mode. Yeah, it's, again, right over top of you in Kirkville and Ozark at this instant here. Some gusty winds with this, some large hail again as that slides toward the south and east. The one problem with our Tupelo camera, and I'll try to switch it over and see if we get a shot, is we're going to be looking back through the tower on this. We don't have the greatest view back to the north and east. The best part about having these towers, you get them up good and high, and you can look over top and have a great view. The worst part is, when you have a storm that's blocked by one of the tower legs, which is just, a function of looking up so high. And looking northeast, actually, this would be a direction we might actually have a viewpoint on this here in a minute. So again, in the northeastern Lee County, under that severe thunderstorm warning, in the corner there, that's where you could see again the kind of the eastern, northeastern portion of the county under that severe thunderstorm warning until 1 p.m. Again, Mama Justice Doppler radar, as we've been tracking that there, has produced maybe some hail, but I think it's in the process of trying to drop some of that right now. So we'll come back to this camera shot here in a minute as this storm moves in, because looking northeast, directly northeast, we'd be looking right about, make it through well, pretty much right where my mouse is there.